Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about the perennial question of engineering versus sales. Well, let me start with some jokes for you. They say there are 10 types of people in this world. One who can understand binary, and all others who don't. That, of course, sounds like an engineer's perspective. Or another similar joke is that once a salesman came to a meeting and he said he got 10,000 orders. And the engineer said, "Oh, is this number in binary?" And my favorite one is like this. They say an engineer in an organization can never tell a lie or something that is not supported by scientific or engineering facts. And a marketing guy, every time he tells a lie or makes a statement which is only partially incorrect, his face turns red. And of course comes a salesman who himself doesn't know when he has told a lie or something which is factually incorrect. But all those jokes aside, to me, sales and engineering, they are two important pillars of every organization. If you go to the core of each of these functions, a good engineer or a good salesperson, they both are builders at heart. They can help you build a successful organization regardless of the kind of business you are into. In my career of the last 30 years, I have been one of those rare breeds. I started my career as an engineer, and then I moved over to, those days I used to say I moved over to dark side, into sales. And then of course I have been in all kinds of roles, including managing sales teams, managing engineering teams, being a CEO, CTO, VP of business development, VP of sales, VP of marketing. And of course, depending upon where I am, I always call the other side as the dark side. So I sometimes say that I came out of dark side into sales, or vice versa, as the case may be. But to me, both of these are important. They are like, it reminds me of that saying or that chapter from Prophet, the book Prophet, where Khalil Gibran talked about marriage. And he said, "You are like two pillars supporting the temple of marriage." I would say sales and engineering are two pillars supporting the temple of any organization. He also said, "You are close yet apart." It will be wonderful for sales and engineering to work together, but yet they both need to have their expertise stand out. The salesperson needs to have a very good handle on the customer, and an engineering person needs to have a very good handle on the product or the tech or whatever else he's working on. He has to be builder, and the sales guy has to be a great seller. So you are close yet apart. And he goes on to say, like oak and cypress don't grow in each other's shadow. I think that's kind of sums it up, that you need both sales and engineering to be strong in an organization. Recently I came across a headline in New York Times or Wall Street Journal. It said that there are so many sales jobs available in the US, but not many takers. Why? Now I think that tells you about the toughness or the risk-taking abilities which is required in a person if he gets into sales, and why less number of people are opting for sales jobs right now, because people have become sales worse due to the COVID and all the lockdown situation they have gone through. And of course there are plenty of engineering jobs available as well. Now that really gives you insight into the kind of skills one requires in a sales job. Often I used to hire a lot of salespeople, and I always found they were very good at selling themselves. But at the same time, if you look deeper into their skill set, you would find they may not necessarily be able to do a successful job once you give them the job. So of course, it goes off and on. I mean, that requires a skill to read through a salesperson more than an engineering person. But as I said, I have been an engineer at heart for a number of years, built many products. So I have a special affection, special affinity towards engineering jobs or engineers, because they are the ones who build the product. Every time I did a startup, you start with a tech person, his vision, his ability to execute on things. Then of course, somewhere along the line, you need the salesperson. Some people think the salespeople make more money. I think that's a myth. It depends. A good salesperson can make very good money. So is a good engineer. A good engineer who is the main brain behind a startup or a company's products, I think he can demand what he wants to make, right? Now, of course, he may not care as much about the money at that time, because for him, creating or building that product matters more. And of course, if he's a good creator, he would make sure he has a good salesperson to support him or support the company or support the sale of his product. So I think, see how these two things can go together. Of course, engineering teams, beyond the person who's the brain behind a company's success, other engineers also are given, ESOPs, I would say the incentive sales plan, incentive stock options, and other things. And so salespeople have commissions and all every time they make the sale. So of course both of them have their own incentives. What if I share another secret with you? That both salespeople and engineers are weirdos. You may think that I'm trying to play safe, right? Not take sides, but at some level they are. Think about a sales guy. All day long he has to keep talking to people, to the clients, and may get rejections often. But despite getting rejections, he may have to talk to the same clients again. So, he has to be a weirdo to keep doing the same thing without expecting or without getting the desired result, or accepting a different result every time he talks to the same person. Only a weirdo would do that, right? Isn't it? But salespeople are weird at that time. And they always are. They have to think about themselves to be the greatest motivators. It's not that they're motivating others. They are actually motivating themselves by saying all those things, positive things. Now for an engineer, like I have shared so many jokes, for an engineer, only there are 10 types of people, one who understand binary, others don't. They can't think beyond the technology or the product or whatever else they are creating. They have to keep thinking about it. Only then they are able to get the best out of their mind, their brain, to create the best product. So a successful salesperson would be a weirdo. A successful engineer would be a weirdo. Now the question comes, in an organization, how do you make these two people work together with each other? I've had the opportunity of working with some of the best engineering minds and some of the best sales minds in many companies. And I can tell you, and I have been a good engineer myself and a good salesperson myself. So I have played all kinds of roles. So in my experience, I have seen you can make them work with each other, provided you can make them understand the value of each other. Once a supervisor of mine, actually he was president of the company when I was VP of sales, he used to tell me that if a cow gives milk, at times she may kick you. And he was referring to our VP of engineering, who had some kind of, I would say, awkward behavior at times. He said, but he gives you the product that you sell and make money for yourself and for the company. And I still remember that. A cow which gives milk at times may kick you. So you should have, as a salesperson, you should have the ability to tolerate those kicks sometimes. And I'm sure I may have kicked the VP of engineering myself at times, right? Given him some impossible targets to meet, or give me some features which were, slated for much later release or things like that. So, but now talking about how to make them work together, I think if once you make them understand the value of each other, going back to the cow example, again, I think they can learn to work with each other. And if you create opportunities where they're interacting more often than not with each other. In my current role, I created situations or opportunities where both my VP of sales or VP of engineering would visit the customers, especially our top customers, with me together. So they can see themselves the value each one of them brings. I think that has been, I would say, the greatest thing that I managed to achieve in making both the greatest engineering mind work together with greatest sales mind. I hope all this helps you to create an organization of your dreams by making sales engineering work together. Or if you are like me, which has both left and right brain both working well together, you can be 2-in-1 yourself. It is possible. Think about it. Thank you.